I said, look, I want my money. I'm screaming like hell. I don't want to hear none of this fucking shit. You took my money. I want to get paid. They said, you go to Gleeman's bar tonight, 10 o'clock, and one of the boys will pay you off. So I get down there and I take 2 hoods with me, young hoods. We walk in the bar. I knew I was being set up. I knew it. I said to the guys, look, just see me through this thing, because somebody had to be the fall guy. I had to go to get the money. If I didn't, oh, the guy said to me, I think the bet was late. That's like hell it was. As you took the bet, I get paid. Don't tell me my bet was 2 minutes late. I mean, it was that kind of a thing. To make a long story short, what is Gleeman's bar? I'll never forget it. Talking to the bartender, well, he says, Joe, will be right down. Joe come in. I turn around, my 2 bodyguards are gone. 2 young kids, they weren't bodyguards. They're gone. Oops. There's a guy on this side of me and the guy on this side of me with these Chesterfield overcoats. You know them black coats with the little, I mean hoods. I'm looking up at it. They look like 2 big apes. They picked me up under my arm, just carried me right out the door. Nobody even seen them. Took me to limousine. Are you familiar with the Newark Airport?
Yeah.
They were filling that in. It was a city dump then. They took me to the dump and they beat me. They beat me. I mean, they beat me. In fact, I had O'Sullivan heel prints on my chest for 3 days where they were kicking me. So I may believe I could have broke my jaw. I passed out and I heard the guy say, you want me to knock him off? He says, no. He says, they'll cover him in the morning. And they pushed me down the side of the garbage. You know, when the bulldozers come in the morning, cover you. Make a long story short, I must have crawled 3 miles, but I made it. I got back to Elizabeth, cleaned up, all of these ribs were busted. The smartest thing I had to do was get the hell out of there. So I had a beautiful girl, I had a nice car, I drove all the way to Florida, I had about $10,000. First time in Florida, went crazy, ate coconuts on the road, just like a tourist. Got to Miami, I lasted about 14 days, I wiped out the tracks. Highly wiped me out. I gave the girl a car and I had $80. I gave her $60 and I kept $18. And I said, good, head home, don't worry about it. I was worried about it. I could have wired home for money. It was like 11 o'clock at night and I felt sort of down. I didn't really give a shit though, I was free. And I saw this big sign, see Key West, Old Kongtown. Right across from the library on Biscayne Boulevard. There was a bus station right there. So I went to the bus station. The guy says, geez, the bus left about 15 minutes ago. He says, for about 30 cents you can ride to Homestead. It's the last bus to Homestead. And he says, a milk truck will pick you up or somebody. And it was a milk truck picked me up. The guy said, will you help me unload? I'll take you to Key West. It was like about 12 o'clock at night. And that's my first trip to Key West. In fact, I didn't see a light till we hit Tavernier. I never seen a light again till we hit Marathon. And the next time I seen a light was at Big Pine Key. That's how there was nothing on the Keys. No signs, nothing. Finally I saw the naval base and I came to Key West. And this couldn't sound like the biggest lie in the world. The guy dumps me off downtown here and I stopped in his bar. It was a Duval Club. A big black mulatto owned it. It was sort of a gay, it was everything. And I stopped at his bar and had a 15-cent beer.
This was in 39.
Huh?
This was in 39, right? 1939?
Well, this was about 48.
Oh, 48?
Yeah. I had my first 15-cent beer in this bar. And I asked her, where could I get a motel? She says, listen, some goddamn lady. This was a real whore. Sloppy Joe's had blackjack tables, all strip joints on the street here. She get down the end of the street, there's the Mallory Square dock, she says. There's a lot of old cars. Sleep in a car, save yourself the money. So I slept in a car across the street, where the pier house is now. Went to sleep with a little old Plymouth. Fell asleep, it was cold, it was really cold. Northwestern. I woke up at 9 o'clock, I heard these voices singing. I always remembered this so vividly. It was saying, when you're old and feeling blue. It's little old lady's head and shrimp. And you don't know what to do, remember me, I'm the one who loves you. So I go, I stick my head, this whole pier is falling in, I stick my head in, and the lady says, you want to work, son? And I says, yeah. She says, come on in here. So I start heading shrimp at 25 cents a bucket. My hands got all infected, I had pus under my nails, but I loved it. I mean, and I lived in a car for about, a good month. And I was living off the fat of the land. I'd steal a pound of shrimp every night and boil in a little can out in the back there where the Key West Fabrics is. And then I started working on a shrimp boat, and I pulled the $18. I'd say I went to about $2 million easily. Then I got a little charter boat. Then I got a shrimp boat. And I just kept going.
Wait a minute.
And the guys were going to kill me.
How did you turn $18 into?
Huh?
How did you turn $18 into your?
That
own-
$18, my
into your
original
own
bag. I
boat?
never borrowed any money. I used to borrow in town. I was always maneuvering 500 here. I never screwed anybody though.
When did you get this boat?
I've had the bar. How long have I had it?
Huh?
It must be 16 years now.
And you got,
I didn't want the bar. I was having a great affair with a beautiful Navy wife, gorgeous. She was having my child. She was divorced her old man. This was a rip-roaring gay bar. This was always a gay bar. As far back as you go to gay people, even when Hemingway was here, the gay guys, even in some of the books, they mention how the guy got it. The guy who owned it, the Navy put them off limits. All the gay people left because there was no fresh meat here. The Navy couldn't come in here, and the gay guys loved it because it was like we use the expression fresh meat. So they all left the poor son of a bitch flat, Morgan Bird. And I hung in. I spent $500 a week to keep him going. And then he went up north, he got disgusted, he committed suicide, and the bar was closed. David Wolkowski owned this, who owns the Pier House. And he used to come to me at the bar, why did you open that bar? I'll give you for $300 a month lease with an option to buy for $35,000 in 3 years. I don't know anything about the bar business. I was doing a lot of money. I was fucking around in Cuba. I was involved in Haiti. A lot of things I never talked about the press about. Costa Rica. I was in the arms business. And this Shirley, come on, why don't you buy it? I'll run it. Me and my brother, he's got a lot of experience, so I get into the bar business. That's how I get into the bar business. Like I said, my women have been responsible for whatever happened to me. And we have 2 beautiful children. We separated. We raised the kids. She's remarried. We're very happy. They always come in to see me. My youngest child is with her. She's 13. And I get back to your question.
You're fine.
I'm gonna bore the hell out of you.
No.
Somehow or other you fire me.
Not likely.
Can I ask a question?
You like to hear this stuff?
Yeah, I love it.
All right, you got to stay fairly close to this machine.
I love it. This
Let's see if we're live.
This may be off.
How many? You gotta have 2 pages.
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah, you got it.
This I don't know. This may be a little out of line. Have you run dope?
What?
Did you run dope? Did you make money running dope?
Never. I'm gonna tell you something very funny. I never got involved in anything with dope. It wasn't because, see, I made money so many ways. Gambling. I was a hustler. Gambling is my life. This is what I really live at.
Well, I had heard that,
I got 11 kids. They're all raised. Everybody's got it made. Well, 7 different mothers. So,
Oh my goodness.
So, what happened, as time went on, I got it made. It was the thing I need. I raised all my kids. When they hit 21, I give them each $10,000. They can do what they want with it. I look after them. I provide for all my ex-wives. I really do this. That doesn't mean anything. Whatever's left is mine. If I got $30,000, I want to blow it. That's my business. And as an Italian, I have never been to jail in my life. I really, no crime, because I couldn't have a captain's papers and I couldn't have a bar license. And I saw no reason to get into it. I could have made, I would have been a billionaire how many people come to me, look, Tony, you want to make a run when no one even knew what was going on? And I respected the people that asked me. I said, it isn't my bag, only for the simple reason, as an Italian, and I say this as an Italian, I wouldn't want to disgrace my kids if my father got caught with even a bale of grass. Could you understand this at all? That was the only reason. I didn't care. I had never thought of the ethics of it. For the simple reason, if I didn't bring it in, someone else would. Here's an ashtray here. Well, you can use the floor. It's all right. Same thing. It's the biggest ashtray in the world. So that's the reason I never got into it. I never had any interest. I've been approached many times. My God. I'm probably the one guy that could get away with one big haul and no one would question it. But I've never... my family, the name has too much to lose. And here we go back to being an Italian. So I was raised an Italian.
What about the people here? Tell me about what happened about 3-4 years ago with the police chief and Bumpardo and that whole... I'm a little hazy about that.
Well...
And maybe...
you're talking about the big bust.
The big bust. I mean, this has always been a big port of entry for everything, right? And smugglers.
I think what happened there... what happened there, I think they just got careless. Overconfident, I don't know what happened. Key West and the people living in Key West, not only the natives, but people, outsiders who live here through the years, after a while they don't recognize law. That doesn't mean that they don't respect law. It seems law has always had a hands-off attitude with Key West. Like, let the fuckers do what they want to do and the hell with them, you know what I mean? And I think they just got overconfident. I don't... of course, it was good copy. It was good copy, and it was used all over the country. I mean, you know what good copy is. It's I never questioned whether they were guilty or not. I never even questioned. Many of these people were my closest friends. Bumfardo was one of my closest. Just stop at the bar at least 3 days a week. And I never knew of his association with it. To me, he was the fire chief, and I loved the guy. And other people were implicated. See, I would say today, and I'm not talking about Jesus freaks and people like that. I'm talking about normal people in the city of Key West. I'd probably get a lot of respect. They like me or dislike me. I always held up. When I didn't like things in the city, I ran for mayor if I had to. Anything, knowing I couldn't beat them, but I could give them messages. Let's put it that way. And usually everything I fought for was done. But something like this cocaine bust, the local people had a very strong hands-off attitude towards it. Very strong hands-off attitude towards it. Like this is their thing. The mafia says that. That's his thing. You know? We never judged. I don't think that the local people ever judged anyone was involved in that. It was like more or less their thing.
Well, have you heard now that the dope business is bigger than tourism in Florida now? Dope is the number one industry or number one
Without a question.
Business in Florida. Without a question.
Well, if you pick up the paper, an average week, you got 40, 50, 60 ton taken within, let's say, a 15-mile area in Key West, so it's got to be.
And that's
I don't even have to say it, the paper says it.
And that's just 1% or something.
Do I?
That's just a tiny percentage of what's coming in.
It's about 10%. Now, how much cocaine is coming in?
I don't know.
We're talking about bulk. The money is not in the bulk stuff. I often question just how much cocaine comes in. When they raid these boats and they empty them out and they take the bales out and they count them and weigh them, how much cocaine is in between the walls or in a fake bottom that somebody comes along 6 months later and buys the boat, bids it, takes it? I don't say it's happening. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, so you sacrifice 80 bales of grass, but let's say you got 15 pounds of coke somewhere. All right?
All right, another question. This is changing the subject a little bit, but there's been a lot of talk about what's been happening to the gays this season. The harassment, there was a murder.
Well, I wish you could use this.
Tennessee Williams
I'm going to
got-
say something I wish you could use.
I can use anything I want
As
to.
far as I'm concerned, the first 8 years of my bar was a gay bar. Now, my attitude all my life has been, what your lifestyle is, that's your business. I've never interfered with anyone's lifestyle, as long as it didn't bother me. I personally feel that the gay influx in Key West was good for Key West. If we, right after the Navy Yard was closed,
That
If
was-
we didn't have this gay influx, they saved the houses. Most of these houses that they claim, well, they bought and they stole and they're making a lot of money, is a lot of bull. Most of these places were so badly damaged to termites, falling apart. I mean, I don't even know where these guys got the balls to buy a place like that for 20,000 and then put another 20 to hold it together. They saved Key West in the historical sense of the old houses, without a question. I personally feel they're good for the community. I personally, this is how I feel. I think they're an asset to it. I think that they bring a lot of money into the town. And this is what I'll be very careful with this, but research it. In the Key West Citizen a couple of weeks ago, a Baptist minister called Reverend Wright from Stock Island took an ad that they should tar and feather them and run the homosexuals out of the ground. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
I'm going to try to get a copy for you.
He's that guy who has a little column every day in the paper. His own
Oh,
philosophy
Burton.
and quotes a few scriptures in Key West.
Yeah, that's not him. This is a hard Baptist minister from Stock Island
From
that
where?
turned around and put an ad in the Citizen. An ad this big. I didn't see it. I can get a copy of it. I want it real bad because I need these things. About running the homosexuals out of town, hanging them, beating them, whipping them, everything. It was horrible. The editor claims he didn't see it. The girl took it as an ad and didn't realize what was happening. Right after that, homosexuals got beat up. They caught 2 local kids beating up homosexuals, and they claimed it was their religion, that God told them to do it. Now, these are tough-ass little fuckers that used the article. This is something very, if you follow up on this, you've got one of the best stories of the year.
Where's this guy from?
Huh?
Where's this guy from? This preacher? What'd you say?
It's Stock Island, which is
Stock
the next
Island.
island, right next to us.
It's right
Next
there.
island.
Yeah, right next to Holiday Inn. That's Stock Island, the little island right next to us, where the dog track is.
All right. So
But
what?
follow up on this.
All right.
This is something, it's the hottest story and nobody's used it yet. Why the paper printed that? Because someone says to me, any son of a bitch, they murdered a homosexual here, they blew his brains out. A very good friend of mine, Frank Fontes, I've known him for 30 years. He was a sort of a horse's ass, sort of nasty guy, but he was a beautiful person. He had no business killing. No one knows who it was. They tried to bring out in the paper, it could have been drug related. He was not a drug.
When did this happen? When?
Frank Fontes,
When?
about a month ago. But anything that happens to homosexuals now, I'm blaming the paper for putting that article in, because they condoned it. This is what it came down to. I don't know the editor, but someone told me the editor, his defense was he didn't see it. Well, he's the editor. He's supposed to be seeing everything going in and out. That's his job. Is that right?
Well, now I know Tennessee and a friend got beat up about 3 weeks
What?
ago. Tennessee Williams and a friend were beaten.
You want the true story on that?
Yeah, please.
Tennessee's a great guy. They were drunk and they were going down to Wall Street singing. They see these 3 young kids. They probably tried to pick them up. And they were talking and had the kids singing with them. And it was, nobody really got beat. It was a push around thing. Nobody got hurt. Nobody went to a doctor. Because Tennessee tried very, very hard to wipe it off as a big joke. But of course the New York Times got it. He was not mugged. Mugged means you get beat, they take your money, your wallet. You understand? This is mugging. This is what a mugging is. You know what I mean? I think this is what I think my version is, and I know Tennessee very well. I mean, I know you prefer that you don't use that, but this is what I think it was. They were just being friendly with the kids. Maybe they could have even been trying to score. Who knows? But it was just a push around thing. I mean, that's how I look at it. Because homosexuals do leave themselves wide open. A lot of them, how many homosexuals in towns pick up a young hippie because he got a good body, they take him home, the kid takes his wristwatch and his rings. They don't call the police, they, well, how'd he get in? You know what I mean? Frank Fontes entered that door, he was naked outside of a pair of socks. He must have been expecting someone, let's say, maybe a few tricks. Maybe these kids were from Michigan, who knows? But it looks bad in the town. And here's another thing. A guy's at a business store at Evans. At 2 o'clock in the morning, he opens the door, bare ass, with a pair of socks. What the fuck was he doing in the store at 2 o'clock in the morning? These two young kids come in and beat the shit out of him. I mean, you have to sort of. So he must have made an arrangement to have a couple of tricks come over, probably give him a blowjob, and this was it, right? But it went the other way. I'm not defending the kids. I'm just trying to live with oneself. To look in the mirror and say, well, I'm Captain Tony, I'm not going to bullshit myself. I have to talk this way. I always try to look at I don't look at it like the paper's screaming. It doesn't work that way. I've been in the bar business too long. I know people. They never explain why this guy's in the store at 2 o'clock in the morning, bare ass with a pair of socks on. You see what I mean? It doesn't, and why did he answer the door at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Have there been other incidents like this?
So what?
Have there been other incidents like this? Gays getting harassed, beaten?
I feel.
So is it increasing?
I feel there is an anti-gay movement among, but it's not planned. I don't think it's organized. There are a bunch of hoodlums in town that love to go around hitting faggots. You understand? Our people like that. We get them in our bar. We always watch them. It never happens in our bar because someone. I used to have a gay bar and a guy came and said, "What's all these fucking faggots doing?" I said, "Get the fuck out of here, mister. I'm giving you 1 minute to get the fuck out of here." That's all I gave him was 1 minute. Or a guy come in, my junkadoos are playing. Man, them niggas are good. Out. Out. I don't like the word nigga. Now get the fuck out of here. This is the way I am. I've got to be that way because I do care. And no doubt that there is a bunch of kids, mostly important politicians' kids, that are pulling this shit and getting away with it. They used to do it in the Navy. Navy kids just could never walk down Caroline Street. They'd beat him in the head with lead pipes. Beat the shit out of him. Any Navy kid, he was in uniform, they'd beat the crap out of him. These local conks would get 10 guys out of a car and beat them to the ground. Kids learned not to wear a uniform. That was like Skid Row or Death Row. You walk down Caroline Street to the Navy Annex, God, they got you. So it's gone the other way now. But I think this too shall pass. It's boy, I wish I had the balls I had 10 years ago. I don't know what's happened to me lately. Whether I got tired of all this shit and I don't care. I hope that hasn't happened to me because I always cared. Or you realize it's almost hopeless to fight sometimes. You can't beat them. There's no way you can beat them. Or I don't know. I was laying in bed this morning thinking. I said to myself, when a person hits 60, he's a total loss and a wipeout. Total. I'm saying using that. No, I'll tell you why. Because by the age of 60, you have seen so much corruption. The Nixons, the President Roosevelt, the Al Smiths, the local politicians, just using that, and then the injustices of life, that when you hit the age of 60, it hasn't happened to me. I'm just lucky because I don't think I belong to any generation, as of yet anyway. I sort of more with your group, I think. I can understand why they get sour. I can understand why people 60, let's say some, just using an age, are so sour on youth, why they make it so tough for the kids. Really. Because all this hate develops, all these frustrations, all these hang-ups in that many years of just watching life in general. You can't even depend on a church or anything, And I watch these people, and they're beat and they're whipped, and I say, Jesus Christ, how did they survive? But in the meantime, they get bitter. And it's your generation that suffers. They fuck us every way they can. Every fucking way they can, they'll give you a screwing. They'll make it tougher for you. The band's too loud. This is look at them goddamn hippies blowing their horns at 5 o'clock. I mean, the whole thing is, there must be a way of putting people on a big boat, like when hit about 65, turn about, get them real high, open a bottle, come back for the next load. Gotta be, yeah, I believe in that. I do. Let's say 70, tops.
Yeah, would you like it if they put you on a boat?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a point. There's a point.
There you go.
There is a point. There is a point, I think, where the human becomes a liability instead of an asset. Now, you went in these old homes all around this country and see what I'm talking about. Little vegetables living there. They pay $200 a month. Fucking mom's all right. She shits in her pants. She can't eat food. Do you understand? She's back. I think that I believe like the Eskimos. When they get to a certain point, they realize that they are a liability. They go out on an ice floe and go off. I believe life should be like that. No doubt, maybe 1,000 years from now, mentally we can adjust to that. We've still got our religious hang-ups and our so-called ethics of some sort, but they're wrong. They're very wrong. I think there is a point in life where life should be severed. I don't mean hang them on a tree, very gently. A couple of nice way out, just a nice way out. It has to be. Right now, old age is killing youth. And by the time they destroy you, don't take too long to destroy you, you become old, you're doing the same thing, and it's a process that repeats itself. I think that youth should have more chance. People, I know a lot of kids say, boy, Tony, if I lived in your generation, man, the things I would have done. Yeah, right. Each generation, with education, TV, newspapers, the older people are getting tougher on youth.
You want to talk about that a little bit? What about the kids?
Right?
What about the hippies? What about the kids who've come down in the last 10, 15 years?
The hippie, a lot of the hippies today would be the winos when I was a kid. And I think to me, the hippie movement is all over. It's gone. I meet kids that were very heavy hippies 10 years ago. Remember, I raised the whole town. I raised this town, believe me. I don't know how many states in this bar. It was a sanctuary. I meet kids today that were 20 then, 25, they're 30, 35 now. And they're trying to pull together. They lost 10 years somewhere. Can't make it up. I've seen kids that were heavies, they're off everything. And they say to me, you know, Tony, we used to raise hell about dope and this, used to get us in the room, raise holy hell. You always gave us $5 to eat. No matter how much you yelled, you always gave us $5. Yeah, go and eat something. You were right. I said, no, don't tell me I was right. I don't believe in that. I believe this is the way I felt at the time, and you had to do what you did at the time. And these kids want to settle down nowadays. But if they lost 10 years, they just can't make that 10 years up. See, that 10 years, now, because I'm bringing narcotics in again. You see, because it ties in with it. That 10 years, when they figured all the highs out, there isn't one high left. It was like you got up in the morning, you had your bowel movement, you boiled the chick at night, you get up in the morning, you had your bowel movement, you boiled the chick at night, you were high in between, you were traveling, tripping, listening to Bob Dylan and all this stuff. But when you say, now what happened the last 10 years? They have no answers. Am I being hard? I'm being fair. Now, I'm only talking about what, there could have been a lot of other things going on all over the world. This is was my environment.
Well,
They created some great people, but they didn't stay long. If you ask a kid today, well, what was the big thing that happened? They say, you know what's the funniest thing? Kids with high IQs, they say, Bob Dylan, the Beatles. It stops. They don't go into anything political. Some kids bring up, what was that big university where the kids got killed? That was a mistake.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. They just shot at him instead of up in the air. But they'll bring that up. What the hell was that?
Kent.
Kent State.
Kent.
Yeah.
See, but they don't bring up anything, any great writers. It was like that time just got wiped out. But the good side of it, they stopped the war. They showed the government that youth has got a voice. Right? All these things were there. They did a lot of good. They changed the whole world. But what they gained, they lost. They lost it all. I mean, everything they gained, all that screaming and yelling and carrying them posters, they were great days. I painted some for the kids when they went to Washington. I know. All of it was passé. It's gone. The old people got more strength now than they ever had. I admire the kids because they don't want to vote. They're always screaming, "You got to go out and vote." I love the kids because they don't want to vote. This is a sign of rebellion. I vote. I never miss an election because I'm the old school. Because I ran for mayor and because I am involved with some of the people that are running. I'm not a part. I never in my life voted Democrat or Republican. I vote for a person. And I don't know. My generation saw some of the greatest things in the world. I guess we saw it all. We saw the wars. We saw medicine, penicillin, the man to the moon. But the people never progressed. They're right back where they were 32 years ago, 60 years ago.
You don't think the 60s changed anything?
The
60s didn't change anything?
No, I think we went backwards. I don't think they moved ahead. That's why I hope before I die to see another revolution. I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. I don't feel it. My biggest time in my life is when the college kids come down, Easter, because this is where I get the pulse of the country. I get Kentucky, I get Illinois, I get New York State, I get Michigan, and the kids are waiting for me outside. 11:30 in the morning, there's 50 kids out there. They really are waiting for me. And we go in that other side room and have coffee, and it's like a big bull session. Guys, girls, I don't know, the word gets out of me. And I lay it into them. I deliberately agitate them. I get them mad. I mean, they pound the table. I say, "Oh, you're a fucking bunch of blanks." The greatest fucking reason I believe in God, because He made the pill so you fuckers wouldn't reproduce. Oh, you don't know what happens. No.
Now that's something
but,
to come down for.
Huh?
Get your tape recorder out for that.
Listen, I do this, but we get into very heavy. Surprisingly, I only went to the 8th grade, but there isn't anything that they can discuss that I don't seem to be way up on it. I don't know why. It always fascinates me too. They start talking about subjects, and I'm right there with it, and probably above it. Whether it's age got something to do with it, I don't know. I tell these kids that something's got to happen. All you're doing now is you're vegetating. Someone's got to do something somewhere. It's got to stop people like Nixon and this fucking government the way they operate. Because, well, it's going to happen. I said, it isn't going to happen. There's 40 kids here, right? You're all gung-ho right now. I get a pound of grass. I throw it on the table. Everybody smokes a joint. In 10 minutes, hey, man, I don't want that shit, man. Whoa, come on, man. Look at the fucking ceiling. Oh, they get so mad. I try to inspire something. I know I do, because the next day there's 80 of them there. They're all waiting for me. I mean, I'm talking about kids that come from doctors or lawyers or garbage truck dealer, or their father owns a gas. I'm talking about and this is where I get the feel of the country, right in that month. I really do. I don't form an opinion. Last year, the vibes were beautiful. I felt something so strong. I could feel it, but only in the girls. I didn't feel it in the guys at all. The women are moving ahead, and the guys are like, I'm real serious about this, very serious. The women have passed the men so bad today, I can't believe it. This is not ERA talk. To me, a cunt's a cunt's a cunt. You can't change.
Oh,
That's
no.
all.
Don't bring that. Don't
No, I'm
bring
not that. A
that.
lot of respect. But I gotta think that way. But I feel it in the girls. The girls they're pulling together. They have the money. They seem to dress not better, but they're picking up things. A girl 18 years old can't stand a guy 18. There's no possible way. She's got to move to about 22, 25. I mean, all these things are happening. And it has nothing to do with ERA. Absolutely nothing to do with ERA. Absolutely. To me, that's a total wipeout. But the women are having a good time. They don't poison their husbands. You know what I mean? And they keep them busy. That's very important. You're losing the question there. What do you get me fired up for? You get me all fired up. And don't you print any of this stuff. Throw it away.
This is just right.
But it's not the Key West that I could think of. You know, to me, it was the people. Dave Wilkowski, when he had pneumonia, walking around with an overcoat all day because he didn't want to go to hospital. I mean, so many things. I mean, so many beautiful things happened. But most of all, it was the people. Tremendous people. And people like myself. My generation that came here, about that time, we all made it. Some of us opened hot dog stands, and we were a credit to the town. I think we gave more to Key West than we'll ever take out. And I say that about people that migrated here at the same time I did, the post-war boom years. We gave so much more than we'll take out. These big business people seem more like bleeders. They got to satisfy the stockholders, which is some son of a bitch living in Iowa, another guy living in San Fernando Valley there. And these are all people that don't exist to me. You know what I mean? They just don't exist. But we came, the little stores on Wall Street, and the little Italians that opened spaghetti shops, and we contributed to the community. We gave a lot to the community, and they gave a lot too. It was a different time. It was a different time, a different place. Today they figure out how to get the pipeline down. Well, to give you an idea, this Gaiman or whatever he was got up and talked and praised that he was the manager of the Aqueduct Commission. The day that the vote came in, he resigned. It was a big setup. A lot of people voted for him because they had a lot of faith in the man. He was the manager of the Key West Aqueduct Commission. He was the top man. The day that they voted in, he left. He resigned. He left the job and left everybody to feel like a bunch of idiots. And then the banks got the balls to put an ad in the Citizen to thank the people for voting for the new pipeline, because they're going to have $63 million they can loan out. I would never put that ad in. That's balls. Because I was against the pipeline all the way. If they got more water and they got more electricity, they'll take the whole thing over. But as long as you had a limited flow of water and a limited flow of electricity, you could have kept the status quo here. Now you can't. No way. I believe they should have had a new pipeline, but the same size, let's say. Only because I want to see this thing preserved. I'm not worried about the pigeons and the birds. Our own shit will kill us anyway. So our own shit we're going to die in, just like we're killing everything else around us. There's no way. You can only dispose of a thing so long, then it starts backing up. So you people are going to be in trouble in about 50 years.
It's happening now.
No matter what they do with chemicals, in the end it's got to come back to you. You can't get rid of anything. There's no way in this earth you can get rid of it. Even a cigarette, when it's finished, the ashes will always be somewhere. No way you can get rid of anything. So you got 400 million people in the United States having a bowel movement twice a day. We're in trouble. We're going to die in our own shit. Make that the capital. Make that the headline. Capital is everybody's going to die in their own shit.
There you go.
What about Ernest Hemingway?
Surprisingly, it's a true story. Even though I have the bar that he spent all his years, and this was really the Hemingway's bar, because 1933 to early 38, this was Sloppy Joe's, and then he went to Spain.
This was the old Sloppy Joe's.
This was Sloppy Joe's.
Oh.
I mean, this is history. You got that. I can show you books in history. I'm not giving you the tourist spiel. I'm giving you the facts. In early 38, Hemingway left for. He went to Spain, wrote When the Bells Toll. Then he went to Cuba. He had his house here, and in early 38, David Wilkowski's grandfather raised the rent $3 a month. And Sloppy Joe says, "Fuck you." In the middle of the night, 5 o'clock in the morning, he got all the fishermen and drunks in town, and they moved his whole bar over to the corner.
No.
That's how the name went over. He wouldn't pay that $3 raised rent. See? But actually, Hemingway, his years were spent here, because when he did come back, he used to come in for 3 or 4 days. He sold his property. He had sort of forgotten Key West. That was so. This is where the years were spent. I never used Hemingway. I could have cashed in on it. There was two reasons. One is I didn't care for the tourist trade with the pineapples in their hat and all that stuff. I opened this bar as a fisherman's hangout. They were like piece of meat with eyes. They were all right, you know. You look at my bar anytime now. We have a little segment of it, which is good, and I appreciate it. But mostly it's people like you or you, or, you know, it's a different type of thing.
No pineapple.
And I couldn't ride a dead man. I just couldn't ride a dead man. Whether it was my ego wouldn't allow it. I don't think I ever gave it a thought. I never considered Hemingway with the bar. This is Captain Tony's saloon, and this is it. I never used it. In fact, more people used to write books about it. People came and talk to me about it. Then there was a great writer with the Associated Press. I can't think of his name. Wrote an article on me. It was national, went all over the world, and even when it went to the military papers. His name's on the wall somewhere, and he put down the best way to describe Captain Tony would be to say that he is a dropout from a Hemingway novel. Right? At that time, I was heavily involved in Haiti. And everybody thought that I was a friend of Hemingway then. I heard stories that we both fucked the same women, that he'd never go fishing unless I was the mate on a boat. And I tell people that isn't so. No, come on, Tony, don't bullshit me. You don't want to talk about it. I never met Hemingway. I loved everything he's ever written. I didn't care for the stuff he did in France, like A Memorable Feast. My mentality wouldn't absorb that. I don't have the, or maybe I just was dead to me. But For Whom the Bells Toll and everything else he wrote, you know, To Have and Have Not. I loved everything he wrote. I think to me, I'm sorry to see him die. He's dying today. The next generation is not picking it up. They're just, he was of a time. Surprisingly, in Key West today, the kids, the school kids, high school kids connect me more than Hemingway. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not even daring to put myself in Hemingway category. But I lived what he wrote. And this is the way these kids think. See what I mean? But I never knew the man. I honestly didn't. I know I met his wife Mary a few times, his widow, beautiful person. She's been here a few times. I met Lester, his brother. I know him very well. And you don't see people after a while. You know, the world changes. And then his great-granddaughter, Marla, was in here a lot of times dancing. Yeah, very beautiful girl. A reporter asked me about it. I said, man, she's beautiful. I said, but so much meat. I said, I can't. I said, I just don't go for that. She's disgustingly healthy. I don't dig her. He puts it right in an article. I didn't give a shit. Captain Tony says there wasn't a Maverick or whatever it was.
Margot.
Yeah, Captain Tony didn't dig it because he says she's disgustingly healthy. That's the story of Hemingway, but as the years go on, more and more and more is the bar becoming a shrine to his memory amongst the people who honestly are Hemingway fans. This is where they come now. They know it, they hear about it, they read about it, they talk about it. I think, and there's no reflection on Sloppy Joe's, I think to most of the Hemingway fans, the bar, the physical structure of this bar, has more of a feeling of Hemingway. I mean, you went in both places, you know.
It's true.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean I love Sloppy Joe's. And I think it's a great bar. I really do. There's been a change of ownership now, and young people have taken over. There will be changes. Youth changes everything. But I'm sure it'll always be, to me, a great landmark in Key West. I don't feel competitive with it.
So what are you going to do now, Tony?
What?
What are you going to do now? What next?
Regrets. I have a few. You know, I'll put it to you this way. My life has been climbing mountains. When I became a fishing captain in Key West, I had to be the greatest. I did turn out to be the greatest. Figures show it. I mean, I became one of the great captains. I'll be a legend, dead and gone for years and years and years. People always talk about captain. I just had it. I don't know what it was. I outfished everybody. I had that personality. That was a mountain. I climbed that mountain. I'm in a bar. I've always been climbing mountains. And when I got to the top, I always got scared there was another mountain to climb. After the movie, I don't think there's any mountains. I don't feel anything. I haven't. The movie took a lot out of me.
Talk a little bit about the movie. I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's like someone said, well, geez, Tony, how'd you feel watching Stuart Whitman do you? Watching Robert
What's
Warren.
the movie? What is the movie?
What is the movie?
Yeah.
It's a love story. It's a man's lifestyle.
Your story?
It's what it really is. When you see this, it's my life story.
Were you in it?
I did a shot. Now that you know me, you can appreciate it. I did a shot, about a 3-minute scene. I didn't want to get in at all, but the last day they had set this whole thing up, and the last day, the day before the last day, there was a scene where Stuart Whitman's on My Old Greyhound 2. And this girl Stacy comes on, she's got a fucking gun and she's just going to kill a son of a bitch. She's talking to the mate, where's that son of a bitch, I'm going to kill him, which actually happened. Of course, this scene was early in the picture, but they had shoot scenes, you know. And she's talking to Woody Strauss, where's that, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. Because I had sent her to her house and told her it was a hotel. See? And when she went in, the madam says, well, what do you want here? She says, I want a room. She was soaking wet. You want a room? Who sent you here? She says, Captain Tony. She says, that figures. Room 23. So she goes up in room 23. It's a warehouse on the Wall Street them days. She gets her dress. She's very tired. She travels to New York. She gets to the tub bare ass. She falls asleep. And this Navy guy comes in, jumps right on top of her. He figures it's just another whore. She's going to get me, right? So she's standing with this gun, threatening the mate, wants to know where I am, because she's going to kill me. She had slept in a boat and found the gun in the dresser. See? And Stuart Whitman, who's Captain Tony, walks on a boat and she turns around and she's already shooting him. He don't pay no attention to it, which is very typical. I'm going to kill you, you son of a bitch. And what are you talking? Put that gun away. It was so fucking real, I almost cried, because this guy became me. And I felt guilty because I wanted him to be Stuart Whitman, but he became me. It was horrible. It was a horrible transaction. So I'm on a shrimp boat, and I'm looking down at him, and I say, hey, Captain Tony, what's happening? Everything all right? I can see the girl with the gun. He turns around, turns his back, says, hey, Joe, how are you? What's happening? How's the fishing business? Hey, very good. I got a big marlin. Listen, I'll bring a big chunk of it down the bar tonight. You going to be at the bar tonight? He turns his back to her. She's getting madder and madder. You know, like, fuck you. What do you want to shoot me? Go ahead. You know, it was a great scene. So people that know me will realize that Captain Tony is talking to Captain Tony.
Yeah.
One of the great scenes was, not because I was there, I was a natural anyway, but it was just, they got a very short close-up of my face, you know, the beard, and it was well done. But this is what it is, Captain Tony talking to Captain Tony.
This is a TV movie, right?
It'll be a feature picture in theaters.
Feature.
Oh yeah.
And when? Next year?
It'll be out sometime this summer. We're going to premiere here.
All right.
When I first did the picture, they asked me, what do you want to contract? I don't know. I said, I'd like to have it all done in Key West. They put that in writing. And I said, I think it'd be nice because I would like to have a premiere in Key West. And he said, why do you want a premiere in Key West? That's because this is not a Captain Tony picture. This is a picture, I belong to the people. And this is a picture I want the people of Key West. That's why I've always felt through this whole picture that it was the Key West story of a time, 62, 65, the rocket crisis and all this. And it's a history of a town before it went into any big radical changes. And it'll be a history for kids forever. Forever and ever. As long as these kids look at it, any generation, because it's a time movie. It'll just say, geez, that's the way Key West was in 62. We had the old cars, the clothes were old. You know, we did the whole thing right. It's a beautiful picture, really. It's not going to win no Oscars, but it's a good, healthy picture.
Who's doing it?
Huh?
Who's making it?
Peter Barton and this German, I can't think of the German name.
The company?
Yeah, it's big outfit.
What company?
Well, I would say Peter Barton Productions. I would use that. The German company is a name about that long.
What's the title?
The title is Key West Crossing.
Key West Crossing.
I got some, wait a minute, I got some. I got a bunch of literature on this stuff if you need it. Check that battery.
It's all right so far.
Really, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be hot.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I think so. I'm fascinated. I haven't, it's a great way to get to know somebody.
You been here before?
I was here, no, not before this year. It's my first year.
They all steal my pictures. I had a bunch of pictures I want to show you. Let's do it with me. I've got a lot of stuff on it.
Did he grow a beard?
No, no.
Didn't? No? You were clean shaven in those days?
In '62, I didn't have a beard.
Yeah.
After they caught me, that one particular trip, I hadn't shaved for about 2 weeks, and then they had me for about 76 hours, and I had a beard.
Who caught you?
And I don't know if you noticed the picture on the napkins in the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, the cigarettes. A UPI guy, when they brought me to Key West with the Coast Guard and everybody wanted to put me in jail.
When? Why?
The Coast Guard, well, I had gone behind an iron country without government sanction.
Cuba?
I'd gone right into Cuba, landed at the docks and everything without government approval. That was like 10 years in jail, see? And everybody wanted to put me, everybody's trying to get the CBS to take the pictures, UPI, everybody wants to get in the cameras, right? I'm beat, I hadn't slept for about 4 days, I mean really whipped, I was beat. My boat was sinking, they were trying to grab us, I was throwing machine guns off the back, and the Coast Guard guys, you throw one more gun, Tony will blow, he says, fuck you, go ahead. Because he wouldn't, he's one of my drinking customers. And they had this gun, you know, I just kept throwing the evidence off. And when I hit the dock, the whole town was out. There must have been 5,000 people at Mallory Square. You know, Captain Tony was caught, the Coast Guard's bringing him in, everybody was out. It was like a, oh man. And people worried about me, because they, in their own little way, I was a part of the town. So when I got off the dock, before I even got off the boat, guy comes down, gets some small pox shots, and he wants to get in the movies too, right? Then the sheriff wants me, then the Coast Guard wants me, then the FBI wants me, then Customs wants me, then Immigration wants me, they're all waiting to grab me, right? And some son of a bitch grabbed me, all right, Tony, you're going to jail. I said, you take your fucking hands off me. And man, when I said, tears in my eyes, my sweaty, stinky, and the UPI guy got a shot in a million. You know what a shot in a million is? Yep. He got that, the eye sideways, the glint, the anger, the tire, he got it all. He was the second picture nominated for the best picture of the year.
Really?
Yeah, that's the one of the napkins on a cigarette, because as you see what is a blackout. What a picture that was, Jesus Christ. Then the guy takes me, the customs guy takes me in the courthouse. He says, make a move so I can blow your fucking head off. You shove the gun up your ass, I walked over to the men's room. Then they get a call from the United States government 3 days later, give the captain his boat back and drop all charges. That blew everybody out. Because I knew what I was doing, you know. I come closer. Somebody said, why'd you do it? The money? Yeah, no factor. It was action. I know why I did it. I didn't give a fuck for Castro one way or the other. It wasn't good. It didn't mean anything.
It was a mountain.
I was working for Castro when the revolution started. We were taking stuff down to him. When he became a communist, I was going the other way, taking stuff against him. Didn't mean anything. There's no right, no wrong. That's the way the government operates. That's the way we operate.
That's just like to have and have not, isn't it? Same story. That's what Bogart said.
But anyway, get back to Key West, I don't know.
Well, you were talking about the balance, the equilibrium, the old...
The balance?
Yeah, of the town. The old... the town had an equilibrium. The town had a...
Well, I think even the Conks feel, that for the first time in the history of the island, that they are in jeopardy of losing their island. And knowing how the Conks think, they know one good hurricane will balance it again. They know this. I know. One hurricane will wipe this island out and it'll balance it again. Blow all this fucking shit they built up down, and start all over again. That's right. And they'll take it over again, it'll be their island again, and leave them alone for another 30, 40 years. Until the fucking kangaroos find out how to use the typewriter and read and watch television, they start over again. Yeah, it's the only thing that can save the conch right now, I'd say from a total loss of the island, would be a good old-fashioned hurricane. They still have them once in a while, you know. So maybe the guy up there was looking after him. He said, let these fucking, like ants. When you was a kid, you ever see an ant house and you covered it? Came back the next fight, the fuckers build the same hole, right? It's the way people are. Blow a fucking house down, the guy will put the same sewer pipe in the same place where it was. No different. I wish you could write some of this stuff sometime. Nobody ever writes this stuff.
That's what I'm doing.
Would you do me a personal favor?
Sure.
Would you send me it to me?
The transcript?
Yeah.
I'll send you a transcript.
I would. No matter what you write, I promise you, my word of honor, I will accept. I don't correct things. This is the way you see it. Yeah? I know. There are a lot of stories.
Yeah. Let's take some pictures. I think this is good. I think this is going to be just enough. Let's think of a real good picture or two.
You want to take pictures?
Yeah.
Would you like to do it outside? You can do it here. I don't care.
Inside, downstairs, maybe one in the pool room.
You want to do it in the pool room?
One behind the bar. Bar
Anyway,
girls.
What did you say?
Okay.
I would like to use a one shot, even if
All
you
right.
don't use it.
All
Don't
right.
matter.
How about two bar girls with the sloppy?
Did you get in last night at all?
Didn't come last night. I was tired. I went to bed.
But if you get in tonight, we
Tonight.
really had a
We'll
great
do
band.
some pictures of people dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love to.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
You see that?
That's Stacy.
That's an excellent picture.
Oh yeah.
Look at that
That's
straight
great.
line,
This is so beautiful. You can appreciate it. As a writer, you'll appreciate it. Before you even read it, he said to me, I'm going to do a story for the Christian Science Monitor. It wound up in Cavalier.
All right. That's right.
It was a good story. This is the kid that wrote it. Little things like this, if you ever do something and send me a letter, I'll always hang it up. I preserve that because when I met him, it was strictly this Christian Monitor. I wound up in a porno magazine. How the fuck did I get there? You know?
What happened, really?
No, it was a very good story. You'll like it.
Oh, is this?
But when they did the movie, they tore all this stuff down. You know, they tore all this stuff down. Well, I walked into a grocery store in town, and this girl says to me, she says, Tony, I don't believe it. I didn't know about Cavalier. Well, you want to hear something cute? She says, I don't believe it. I said, what do you mean? She says, I don't believe it. She goes like that with her hands. I said, what are you talking about? She said, oh, come on, you know what it's about. And I forgot about it. The next day she says, did you read the article? Yes. She says, I don't believe it. She goes with her hands like that. I said, look, what are you talking about? She says, this is an article in Cavalier that says that you're this big. I says, what? I says, where's the magazine? I hid it under my coat. I didn't want my employees to see it. I was embarrassed as hell. I said, geez, how the fuck did I make Cavalier? There's a little you know that little girl Annette?
Annette?
The little blonde girl? Well, I was sort of having a thing going there. So this reporter says, what the hell do you see that old son of a bitch? Everybody would ask her that, right? So she turns around and she says, he's got a cock this big. And that's the way she said, you got a and he got in the article he puts down, so I talked to the little girl Annette, a very cute little blonde. I said, what do you see this old man? She says, he's got a cock this big. She held her hands about a foot apart. And this is in the article.
Perfect.
But it was so cute because this is where they'd lay off her. She said, yeah, yeah. But outside that, the article is really a good article. These are my kid brothers here. It's my brother Sal. My brothers are all in theatrical film.
Was your brother Joe just down
Joe,
here?
yeah.
Was he just down here?
He's coming down this year, yeah. Should be down here in March. He wasn't down yet.
You know a bar in New York called Jimmy Days? You ever heard of that?
Yeah, Jimmy Day.
He hangs out there? Yeah. I have a friend who used to manage that place. He's in New Hampshire now. He knows Joe.
Yeah. Joe is well known.
Yeah. Is that him? No. Is that Joe?
My brother's photography.
Ah.
That's the mayor up there.
Now, what happened when you ran for mayor?
I couldn't beat the machines. It was impossible. First time I ran, I sort of I got hold of this. I found out about the HUD. Now this is hard to believe. They were going to bulldoze from Fleming Street to White Street, bulldozers all down, and build little cement buildings, little stores with lamps. That was the HUD thing. It was a plan on a board. And they were fighting very hard to get it through. I forgot the mayor's race, and I started fighting this so-called HUD thing. And we beat that by 25 votes. My whole campaign, I got very disgusted. See, the thing is, I fell in love with you. I got very disgusted. My whole campaign was trying to get people to vote. It was like about 25 to 30% of the people would vote here. Nobody gave a shit. My whole campaign was, even if you don't vote for me, vote. Show these people you care. They're going to do something. We pulled something like about 70% of the vote for the first time in the history of Key West. I inspired them that much. I had people come to me. They said, Tony, I love you. I can't vote for you because, you know, Joe Russell is a cousin of Mrs. Curry, and I can't vote for you. There's 9 votes in my favor. I want you to know we love you anyway. They committed bar. Everyone was crying, telling me they couldn't vote because they couldn't break the family ties. It was so fascinating, you know. And then, of course, my opposition turned around and says, the only reason he's running is for the publicity. He wants to get his picture in the paper. And I couldn't fight that. I no way I could fight it. I couldn't overcome it. Island people are very limited mentally. P-Town anyway. Real island people are very limited. I don't mean they're stupid, they're just limited.
The conks, yeah?
Any island people.
Oh, any island, yeah.
No matter where you go, where the island doesn't, because they don't have any contact with the outside world. I don't mean that they're stupid or dumb or weak. They're just like ignorant. Like,
limited is the right word, I think. Limited. Yeah.
You find that here very strong.
Yeah.
And even the kids that go to colleges come back and like a week later it's like it didn't happen. It's not to do with lack of intelligence, it's just that the environment creates that.
Well, it's cut off from everything else. It's cut off. Huh?
Yeah.
Cut off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to look at you or just keep talking? Be natural.
Be natural. Hey, look at me. I'll take one like this.
Should I comb my hair?
Whoop. That was a delayed reaction.
These guys, they love to take shots at his face.
Yeah.
You see that painting last night that
It's
woman did?
beautiful. He has to see that. It looks,
What's that?
I'd like to bore her, but
it's still
yeah,
downstairs?
she's...
I thought it's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
it wasn't even
Perfect.
flattery. It was nothing. It was just she captured something
Perfect.
that.
Really precise, you know.
Yeah.
Really precise. It's good. Yeah, it is a great face.
This is a face everybody
Great
loves.
face.
They love to photograph this face. Everybody loves it.
Just,
You don't look like your brother. At
not
least
at
that
all.
one.
No, there's some shots I
Is
do.
that the milkman's
He's a little he's thinner now.
milkman's kid?
Our voices are almost identical.
Really?
On the phone, yeah. So how long you down for?
Oh, little less than a week. I think I'm going to Carnival next week in New Orleans.
Ah.
For the carnival?
In,
Degler? Is it Degler?
New Orleans. To Mardi Gras.
Oh.
So I'll be leaving Wednesday, I think.
Are you gonna
No
do a
police
store?
protection, you know. They're almost going to
Yeah.
come
I know,
out.
they're going on strike.
They're going on strike.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, good.
Aren't they threatening to close down the
Parade.
festival?
Yeah. Well, they
Will
can't
you
close
come?
down the party in the streets.
No, that's true.
Will you cover the?
Yeah, that's also a high times job.
Yeah.
That's the next part.
If you get a chance when you're down on Bourbon Street, there's a place called Your Father's Mustache.
I know it.
You ask for Barry.
There, okay.
Just ask for Barry. It's a very simple name. He's a banjo player. He'll open the whole town up for you.
Okay.
I mean, like without being a tourist. Really, I mean, he'll open up for you.
Good tip.
The person will just mention my name. Say, Captain Tony said I had to look you up. That's all. You're on your way.
There. I'll write it down.
You got a nice job.
One of the best.
Really. Yes.
Life is very sweet.
Yes, you get to party a lot.
He said, I gotta give you one of my t-shirts now, take it home with you. You have a girlfriend?
Sure do.
Was she built like her?
Not
Heavier?
not quite as cute, but it's the same model.
Same body?
Mm-hmm.
Small. Small, yeah.
Yeah.
Small fits everything. Oh, sweetie.
Listen, she'll love this.
Oh, that's really small.
That's clever. Tell her where it's at church.
Have you heard this? Heard this story? Thank you, Tony.
Look at this. Oh, I see. I think it was a pocketbook.
This is fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I heard this last year.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a wild shirt. That's for you.
Thank you.
Wear him in good health. Well, you can't leave here without having a cap-toe shirt on. Jesus. Well, you want to shoot downstairs? I don't mind. Anytime you're ready.
Let's do some pictures. Whoa.
That's a medium. You want a large?
No, that's
That's
big
right
enough for
size.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not this big. Super.
Any idea when this will be coming out?
May,
In May?
June.
Yeah.
But I can send you. I'll give you my card in New York, and
You see how you see how a story's done.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I can send you a transcript.
She was really into it. I was watching her when I was talking. She really got into it.
Really fascinating. Yeah. It's a good way to get to know you. You know?
Well, I tell you what. In interviews I get carried away because I'm interested in what I'm into, and it go on because I sidetrack them. I get off. You know, I can't stay with it because I.
Whose idea was this?
That is clever.
Your idea?
No, I found it in the ladies' room one day. It was written in the ladies' room. Poor woman's lip, big one. I said, "Geez!" I looked at it. I said, "What a T-shirt that would make." And I told somebody, I said, "Now you ain't got the balls." I ain't got the balls. We were selling at an average of 1,000 a month.
No.
It's just a great party shirt. 1,000 a month. We must have sold. I started selling them 2 years ago, and we've sold over 10,000. It's a party shirt.
Yeah, it is. Didn't you say you were going to have toilet paper made up with your name on it?
The what?
When I was down here before, you said you were having toilet paper printed up.
Oh, I tell you what happened.
Were you just kidding or what?
Some guy comes down there. I finally, after months and months of working, I finally found a toilet tissue or a paper company in Canada that makes toilet tissue. I sent them the plates, and they sent me 100 rolls of toilet tissue with my face on it, like like the shirt. And I said, anytime somebody says "kiss my ass," I'm going to give them a roll of toilet tissue. So they come in. This is a sad story. I get the 100 rolls in 2 boxes. I put them in behind a bar, and I opened it up, and I showed the girl. I said, "You know," I said, "she's Tony, they're great." She says, "Yeah," I said, "You know, I bet we could sell 100 of these easy for $1 a piece." And I left. The boxes were behind a bar. I came back 4 hours later. She was so happy. She gave me $100. She sold them all.
Oh no!
She sold them all. She said, "When are we going to get some more?" She said, "My God, one guy took 11, another guy took 12. I was so sick, I got cramps.
Oh.
And I kissed her and I gave her $10. Hey, you keep $10 for working so hard at it. I didn't have the nerve to tell her, poor kid. I couldn't tell her.
You didn't even get one, right?
No, I never got one.
You didn't even get one.
They were great. I mean, really were great. It was the face on each sheet, you know. I never got one myself. And I gave a $10 bonus for selling them so fast. I was sick. I never to this day will she ever know. You know, I when I realized I walked out, you know, last thing I said, "Boy, they selling real. You could probably sell them real quick for $1 a piece." I wasn't thinking. She figured I'd sell for $1, right? She was so proud. Oh boy, she's proud.
Is this story a cover story?
Maybe. I took a picture of, you know, the kids who play on the dock, the black guy and the 2 dancers.
Yeah.
I took a picture of the black guy with 1 dancer. She had a flower behind her ear. The light was real pretty. And that looked like a cover to me, but it's not scheduled as a cover story.
It's not.
If they like that shot, they might use it.
Is that how it works? If they have a good photo,
Well, we're
then they'll
ready.
make the article into the cover story?
Yeah.
I got
So,
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'd like to see it done as a cover story.
You think get this apartment together?
Oh yeah,
It's
easy.
a great apartment, no,
Easy.
really.
What kind of stuff do you want done anyway? What do you want done exactly?
I think
Do you want stuff
I've
walled
got to
out?
let it go a day.
Okay.
It's supposed to
Oh,
be a late
I'm
start.
not interested, but I was just wondering.
And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick up all that junk in there first,
Yeah.
box it. I got a lot of valuable stuff on that floor, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was gonna vacuum and clean that room and the bathroom and then move right in here.
Yeah.
I could buy furniture, I don't know, some wicker. We are gonna shoot another week in March. This is what, another week within the next 3 weeks.
Really?
They're gonna shoot one day up here, so I'm trying to hold as much, but there's no reason for all this
Yeah.
junk.
Yeah. Hula hoop here? You really need this?
Sure. You want it?
I don't want it.
They use it for something.
Oh, it's one that makes noise.
I bought a brand new stove, I cooked 1 egg on it. At least I bought it.
You call that the $500 egg?
I love the movie picture people.